Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, Blind. Last time I found the location of where the entrance to the void is, so let's just continue. A hole in the world. The silvergraph plate you recovered from the conservatory points to a secret location far away in the mountains near Shideri Peak. Once you're there, find an entrance to the void and eliminate the outsider.
There's a darkness at the center of all things. It'll change you if you think about it too much, but it's always there. It waits for you. When I was in hiding, I tried to forget everything that I was. Now I aim to keep my promise to a dead man, someone who meant the world to me. Sometimes I still hear Daud's voice echoing through the metal of this miserable knife. This is the strangest, most important thing I've been through, and that's saying a lot. There's a mining complex on Shindere Peak, somehow so obscure that most people don't believe it exists. That mad cult lives there, protecting the one place that can bring me face to face with the outsider himself. Years ago, I heard Daud talking about the void. A fear that grips your throat, bends your spine, but I can't turn away now. What will we have left if the outsider's gone? His name might be lost to the void, but tonight, I'll find out if he can still bleed. This is the place, Shindere North Quarry. It shouldn't exist, but from what I can see, this place is real. At least for now.
Here, the void is closest to the surface of reality, breaking through and spilling out all the fear and power the Abbey of the Everyman tries to hide. You have uncovered more than most. What you do now will change the world.
You again. You know, I used to wonder if you'd speak to me. I almost wanted it. Every street kid, every desperate wretch pushed to the edge. They all wanted you to speak to them. Why didn't you? Why me, now? You know I'm here to end this. You and this disgusting cult.
People have come to this place for centuries wanting many things. To elude death, to seek forbidden knowledge. They are never satisfied no matter how much they take. Not even the dead find peace here. You will find another relic of the cult's heart. A piece of whatever god came before my time. You will find the people who murdered me. When I knew them, they had names and ambitions. Now, they wander this place, their minds snared up with terrible secrets, keeping hidden the unspeakable ritual that made me what I am. Deep in the void, they put a knife to my throat and tore my name away. You have found the knife. Maybe you can find my name in the black viscera of this place, if you care to look.
Why are you telling me this? What do you want?
We both know how a mob can justify a murder to themselves. Who I was or what I wanted never mattered to the cultists here. I will not speak to you again. The next time we meet, you will be face to face with what was done to me all those years ago. Your mind echoes with everything that Daud wants you to do. But I am here to say that you have a choice, Billie Lurk.
Kill the outsider or find another way. Okay, in keeping with the theme of my playthroughs, I will of course look for another way to resolving this situation.
I died because they demanded it, but soon there won't be any more demands.
Stake your claim in the Shindere Peak silver mines. Shindere needs miners. A new and magnificent opportunity awaits you at the Shinderi North Quarry. Apply at the Shinderi... something. Mining company.
Where is everyone? I hate this place already.
Okay, they have dogs, which already annoys me. Because there's no easy way of dealing with the dogs. Silver rush at the Shinderi Peak. Silver fever swept through Karnaca this week as would-be prospectors hoisted a shovel and left to strike it rich at the Shinderi Peak. The recent discovery of thick veins of silver ore has brought unprecedented profits to the mining companies and small claim holders alike. Reports say that the lightest stroke of a pick uncovers silver nuggets worth thousands. The wild rush to make a fortune means that the claims on the peak are going fast, but there are still opportunities for work as miners with Shinderi Mining Company. The company offers a percentage of profits to all who sign on to a dig for them, so what are you waiting for? I can open it, get to the other side with the eye, right? And place a marker. A healthy appetite. I think it makes food restore more health, more health, which isn't as useful at this point. Okay, I have to pause for a second, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. It's mostly just dogs for now. Which, to be honest, I would mostly just like to circumvent altogether instead of having to put them to sleep. There's a bone charm, but the question is, do I even care at this point? Like, all of my bone charms are pretty swell. That's an interesting figure. Is that a ghost?
What is that thing? Ah, it makes my eye burn.
Okay, so that definitely definitely makes me want to look at it. Ground glider, probably something about sliding. Yes, slide speed is faster. No, thank you. Okay, the access to the roof of that isn't as easy as I would like. Or is it? No, it isn't, actually. Actually, it isn't. Okay, so I guess I have to get through the lower ground then. You know what? This is the last mission. I'll just use up all my resources, because to be honest, why not? And there's plenty of them around. Okay, what one-time was that? I don't quite know, to be honest.
Sundays stone, Sundays iron. Shiver, then still. Beer tastes like blood, and nothing but dust. Licking blood from dead man's fingers. Taste of terror, of cheers, of treason. She cut off for us to hide in her bellies.
Difficulties continue at the Shinderi North Quarry. Concerning reports have disrupted mining activities, again, with many working on site complaining of unsettling visual and auditory hallucinations. These have ranged from seemingly innocuous instances of misplaced equipment to large sections of the mine disappearing and reappearing within hours. The widespread nature of these collective hallucinations have made them difficult for the Shinderi Mining Company to dismiss. Furthermore, rumors of black dump, miners' slang for a lack of breathable air caused by underground gases, have spread, leading to several threats of general strike across the company's workforce, as well as growing labor shortage as many miners choose to leave the troubled site. Accusations of poor working conditions, particularly lack of adequate ventilation, are entirely unfounded and ultimately harmful to our operations, said Berenice Castigilla, a representative of the Shinderi Mining Company, when reached for comment. We are committed to the health and safety of our workers and have taken steps to ensure that reporting headaches, memory loss and hallucinations have access to the proper counseling and treatment.
The ones who made me have watched them for centuries be dead on, rotting on the inside. But they will be my days.
Calm yourself, Antero. You had that coming and you know it. How will you find wisdom when you ignore the simplest tenets? Seek no solace in mundane things, cast aside distractions. Your little pets were distracting your gaze from the void.
Where's the harm? I was just feeding the rats and talking to them, like the lonely rat boy from the stories.
We're not in a story. The void needs you.
I don't want...
Okay, a grenade might be in order here.
anymore. I've seen what happens. The stone grips more than your body. It takes over your mind and heart.
This is our purpose, Antero. This is why we're here. Don't fight the influence of the endless and empty.
I don't want to. I'm scared. I don't want to become like them.
Don't worry, you won't. Is someone there?
Oh, damn it. If I was a little bit faster, I could have saved him. But I'm not going to, that can't be blamed on me. They literally executed him.
Like that? What goes on here?
Why do they look like what? They have just tattoos like on their face, I'm pretty sure. Although, yeah, maybe they are turning to stone, because that was kind of alluded to in the conversation.
She will peel back all the lies and symbols. For some, a catastrophe. For others, a revelation. And for some, my death will be a promise.
Actually, you don't even have to do that. You just have to place it correctly. That doesn't help me in the slightest. Okay, that was more straightforward than I thought it would be.
I saw you hastened from the library yesterday. You communed with the eye. Tell me how you feel for my studies.
Yes. I stared into its core and recognized myself. It yearns as I yearn. Under its gaze, I sank beneath the surface of these waters. I walked the path of the envisioned and witnessed the churning of the void in the flesh. Oh, I still feel the eye's presence in my mind.
Yes, yes. The dead see with such depth. The eye of the dead god sees all our desires.
One day we too shall see the truth. I know it.
The truth awaits. Tonight we commune with the eye. When you've finished your studies for the evening, leave the library and join us in the chamber. The relic will look inside us, and we must aid its search. The void lies inward. We must bring it to the surface to see the truth. Bring 3 sharp knives. So, do you have to, like, kill yourself to get into the void? You know, that's kind of... Or at least bring yourself close to death, which would be consistent with what they told us about the void before, because people have been conducting experiments with, like, you know, the state of clinical death, where they were on the brink of dying, and they saw glimpses of the void. Like, they were, for example, asphyxiating each other on purpose.
For a few hours. It has seen better days.
Okay, I have to pause for a second, be right back. Okay, I'm back.
You! This place is for our eyes only!
truth awaits. Did she die from that? Hopefully not. Okay, still unconscious.
Some aren't ready to shed their attachments. I remember one man, some aristocrat from Dunmore, was granted permission to join us here. The fool brought his prize hound, as if he could keep it in the mine, as if we don't have enough vermin. We had him kill it, drove a knife through its eye. Then we killed him. Why? Because he went.
Is someone asking for trouble? What? You! You're not one of us! Hear that? The void hisses. You're bleeding to death, dear.
Then we killed him. Why? Because he wept. Outsiders' bones!
No mercy!
There's no use running!
Okay, there's no particular point in saving resources. Knockdowns are less likely to affect you. Quick reflexes slow time briefly when an enemy spots you. Okay, this is pretty cool. What can I get rid of? I guess this. I'm not using the hook mines at all, to be honest. Okay, this is an elevator. Can my eye squeeze into this? Not necessarily, but maybe it doesn't have to. Because I think I can just...
Cold stone hard. Tastes bad. Breaks teeth. No blood in the papers and ink. Bitter ink. Dead thoughts. Dead flesh. Dry and cracked and withering. Bite at the binding. Make ink spill out. Ruins food.
Indeed, we are truly fortunate to experience the passage of Envisioned twice in one day.
I read that Envisioned can't communicate with us anymore. Can they see us? Or can they only see what's in the void?
In Witness by Stone, Nozaku posits that Envisioned can see us, but choose not to speak. They have loftier matters to ponder when they walk the void.
One day, if I'm lucky enough to hear the call and become envisioned, I'll still acknowledge eyeless like us.
So you say, but they never do.
Okay, so there's some kind of changed creature. And they implied that interacting with the void turns them to stone or something. So maybe those are, you know, the people that have been doing that for long enough that they completely turn to stone.
You see the world of discontent with illusions only you see. I just remember why we like the Blowing upon the embers we found there, we set a light.
Okay, that's like 5 of them.
The fires of divinity at the very heart of the void. We created the outsider himself. Fellow seekers, a face instead of the endless dark. Black eyes rather than that malevolent emptiness that came before. A voice speaking to select few, over which otherwise would be the howling of forever, of nothing without end. And now he sleeps in the ritual hold, held in the crushing grip of the void itself. And he will sleep forever, fellow seekers, for that is our charge. For without the outsider, the void would hunger and roil, and the world itself would shudder.
We see what's real. We see what's beyond. I didn't like that.
I thought that...
I'm going to have a look around.
Nothing.
No luck.
I'll take a look around.
Let's search over there then. What?
Where are you hiding? The eye will guide me right to you. Come with me!
Always.
We have an unwanted guest!
Ow!
Okay, one of them is dead, which I don't feel that great about. I might just use the electrical bolt.
Ow!
You'll die at the hands of a servant of the Outs. There's no use running.
Face your
You'll be
death!
eating lead, my friend.
See what you can get.
Okay. That's totally not optimal, but this is literally the last mission. Like, there's no reason to hold back on resources at this point. Okay, read that. A chant of the eye, a voice for the silence, a face for terror, a body for the darkness, a wound for the wanting, a knife for the knowing, a hold for the hollow, a ring, a truth for the seeker, a charge for the warden, and an eye for the eyeless. Okay, I'll go back to that other place first. You know, it has so many cultists inside that it has to be somehow important. Cultist's diary. It has begun. When I woke this morning, my shoulder felt stiff and insensate, and when I inspected, there was a thread of pure silver stone running across my flesh. At last, I am merging with the void. Oh, to be removed from this reality and exist eternal in the next, to see the subtle shifts and patterns of the void, and be closed off from all contact with the lesser creatures. I am eager to see its progress. The stone spreads. I feel it humming as the heat encloses my very heart. Sometimes I am breathless with it. I can barely listen to the others. At times my tongue won't move for hours and I am mute. My left eye has been entirely subsumed by the void. I can see strange shifts in the light, but it's mostly endless darkness. I find it difficult to focus on my work. My pen slips from my hand even as I try to write these words. My fingers have grown cold and numb to all sensation. Some have even fused together in an amalgam of stone. I am exalted. Okay. It doesn't strike me as a, you know, particularly cool goal to admire to, I mean to, what's the word? To aspire to turn into an unfeeling stone. But, you know, those are cults for you. They are mostly composed of crazy people. Anyway, this episode has been long enough, so I'm going to save and end it for now. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Actually, I checked the timer, and I must have forgotten something, because I still have like 20 minutes, so I will play about 20 minutes more, because it would be weird if this episode was suddenly that much shorter, and I haven't accomplished that much in the scope of this mission. Okay, this is certainly interesting. Entry forbidden.
Forbidden. Could be worth looking into.
Machlodi's key needed. Okay. I'll look around for it. Hues of the Void. We lack the language to express the void in all of its complexities. We have no words for its beauty. There is the rich variety of darkness of the depths of the ocean, the hollow hues of the sky on a starless night, the cold color when you close your eyes to the moonlight, the mottled pigments of a bruise on a tender skin, the sharp black at the corner of your vision as you faint from exhaustion, a crumbled anointment of old blood, your own face reflected faintly in a dark glass. I was ignorant of these delicate gradations when I first arrived, but the eye of the dead god has penetrated my senses and opened my mind. What was once a dull grey has revealed its subtle luster. In my former life I was a painter. I captured the blush of a young debutante's cheek, or the turn of a noble's shapely calf. I was paid vast sums to render the most insipid, lifeless, aristocratic faces into grand examples of virile splendor, but nothing I have ever seen compares to the grace and color of the void.
Run and hide, find small places. Still the huge eye sees. The huge eye sees. Drags us to the dark places. Drags us to the cold. Everything's stone. Everything old.
Okay, I think that's enough for now.
No. Have you read the third book of Last Bernard's seminars? Surely you must. It's essential. The Envision broke apart the gate to the ritual hold to maintain the order of our existence. And the pieces exist outside of the passage of time. It is the basis of our semiotics. Thusly, all meaning flows from this state of within and without.
Yes. My work focuses on this foundational act. The exclusion of the outsider is necessary to maintain the hermeneutics of the self. What is us, what is they, without the outsider, to create that distinction.
Have you encountered Camilla Correa's latest work? There is always the problem of framing, of delimitation. Do these distinctions make communication possible or impossible?
Interesting theory.
Correa? Oh, that she would question. What nonsense.
Hey, you! Come here! Ow! You really thought
You don't deserve the touch of the outsider, you face your death!
Very impressive. You're bleeding to
You don't deserve to get the magic!
Okay, that wasn't as easy as I would like it to be.
Sometimes I wish I'd never felt the draw.
Beyond the inner veil.
What's all this racket? You don't deserve.
It's not wise
You're not
to
one of us.
quarrel with us.
Let's search over there then.
Your eye! Ow!
Face your
Stay
death.
still!
There's no use running. You really thought you could just show up in a place like You're bleeding to death, dear.
Let me wipe the
Any
blood
visions?
from your eye.
Ow! Yeah!
You should have stayed away.
There's quite a lot of them in this place. Who saw me?
Let's see what you can do with that shadow of an arm.
I'll end your miserable life. There's no use running.
Ow!
You'll be eating lead.
Face your death!
Hey, leave him alone. You
Kill you for that!
Okay, I can mark more of them. Because I knocked out the previous ones. So... Ah, there's still this guy over here.
Are you hurt?
No luck. Let's search over there then.
What?
Look around.
We're always watching. Hey, leave him alone. This is for our eyes only. There's no use running. Face death.
Okay, did any of them die from that? Apparently no.
I bet I can hit that black eye. You're bleeding to death, dear.
You don't deserve
Any
the touch of the
visions?
outsider, you piece of filth!
Describe what you see. You'll be eating lead, my friend.
Is the number of the dead still 0? Yes. Okay, I'll take this. It's a bit ridiculous, but I'll take this. Oh, no, this one's dead. You know what? I saved over it. I'm sorry. It's your unlucky day.
Your curiosity will be your death. Oh, you're hurt. Let me wipe the blood from your eye.
Okay, that's all a bit ridiculous. But as I said, I saved over this, so I guess whoever died, died. And that's their problem. Library inventory and upkeep. Our referencing system needs to be reviewed as soon as possible. Bibliographical inconsistencies have been noted in several recent works, which makes study and citation difficult. Some of the older texts have been gnawed at by rats and need to be rebound. Make sure there's no mold in the pages before removing the damaged binding. The mines can be damp in unexpected places. Also, put down more poison. The first slot clearly is not working. Have the latest accounts of the sanguine infusion use has been sent to us. It's needed for our research. Repeated use of these infusions seems to have a deleterious mental effect, alongside prolonged contact with the void. It is of great interest. We must compare long and short-term consequences. One of the isles in Karnaca has smuggled a letter along with the shipment of texts and provisions. It was examined and burned. Its intended recipient is unknown, but it appears to be from a loved one. We will find out for whom it was written and deal with them accordingly. For now, direct the islands to seek out the smuggler and the loved one. Ritual of the Void. The ritual hold. The Void, Shinderi North Quarry. Okay, so the quarry is like a place where the void seeps into the material reality. And then the ritual hold is some kind of a place within the void itself? Man, that guy is really unlucky. He is the only one that has actually died. Preliminary notes on void anomalies. Despite the difficulty, we have managed a general study of the observable hollows, as some have called them. The anomalies and their provenance still baffle us. These flaws in reality are imperceptible to those who have only recently joined our seclusion. Extended communion with the Eye is necessary before anything of this nature is revealed to us. Does the Eye know? Does it share the knowledge with us so that we might understand their nature? If so, what else might dead eyes see? These confluences of the void show us possibilities of time. As the ritual hold is outside of time's reach, are we bound up in the strands of several divergences? It might be that there are still things beyond our sight. We who watch the world align itself to our desires. Are we the witness to an end of time as we understand it?
She is seen through dark waters. Soon she will see in obscurity.
Okay, this just goes back to the other room where there have been, right? Yeah, okay. we watch the stars. Except from a monograph on celestial cartography, any child knows the constellations above the Isles, the captain at the helm, the tasked Leviathan, the vain Duchess, the scaled he-goat, the Moth King, tales older than the outsider himself, patterns read long ago by fearful and the ignorant to create meaning from the emptiness that engulfed them. The supposed significance of one's birth in relation to those signs is a common folk tale. Those under this or that sign, a set of stars, will be lucky or obedient or stubborn or proud. This is of course simple superstition, but what may be read in the stars is of greater substance than the fortunes of unimportant masses. The night skies foretold the necessity of the outsider and urged the envisioned to seek out the wretch who would become him. It is not simply the movement of those distant stars, but what they blink out into nothingness that tells us what the void requires. Alongside the migration of birds and entrails of certain animals, the disappearance of several prominent celestial lights urged the ancient envisioned to take a helpless orphan and create the outsider from his wretched flesh. To be honest, that has illuminated exactly nothing about the specifics of why they did it. But I understand it's supposed to be pretty mysterious, right? It's like one of the main mysteries of the whole setting, in fact. You know, who is the outsider? And
you'll have to be much more specific than that. Inside the ritual hold.
Great. Okay, I think I'm screwed.
Here, with me! Kill her! You'll die at the hands of... There's no use running! Hey, leave her alone!
That's not exactly the place I was necessarily heading to. Because there's still this, right? But I think that's just... okay, that's literally nothing. And this indeed seems to be the way forward. Okay, but now this episode has indeed been long enough, so I'm going to save and end it for now. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!